So I walked up to the blue-gray steel doors of my high school, and I hear a bang. And I look through the plexiglass windows, and I see smoke rising from the cafeteria, thereby changing the trajectory of my life. In elementary school, I was a very good student. I got good grades. I had smart friends. Then came 1969, Richard Nixon, puberty, and math. My 7th grade math teacher, Mr. Black, looked like a snowman with a big round belly and a big round head and mean coal black eyes. And he would spend what seemed like hours every class ranting and raving about communism and hippies. One day, he had an important exam. He went around the classroom, put the exams face down, and went into his usual ranting and raving. While he did that, I went into my usual considerations of my newly grown out hair and started drawing. And when I say drawing, I was not very good. I kind of sucked at art and French. I don't know why I took French in 7th grade, but in any event, I started drawing a skinny guy with long hair and bell-bottom pants. Mr. Black came up behind me, saw what I was drawing, reached over my shoulder and snatched the turned-over exam off my desk and showed it to the class as if to tell them this is what a 12-year-old communist does. Wendy Morton, who I loved, my classmate, gave me a great big smile, and I smiled back. Mr. Morton not only did not smile, he kept the exam and gave me an F, thereby giving me a D for the semester, my first bad grade. Although later I may have gotten bad grades in art and French. And I think that I just never really got the rest of math, didn't pay attention, didn't get the building blocks of math through 7th grade. And worse, Wendy never smiled at me again. 1975, my senior year of high school. June, final month, final exams, last block of exams, the very last block of exam. I fully immersed myself in the hippie culture by this time. That exam was in math. And I can't tell you now whether it was calculus or algebra or division. All I know is that if I didn't pass this math exam, I was not going to graduate high school. All my smart friends were going to college. I had no such plans. I went down to the parking lot about an hour before the exam of my high school, and I got into a car and did what hippies did back then. Because I knew I was living the dream of walking into a class without having ever cracked open a book and the teacher was saying it's final exam day. I was not going to pass. I get out of the car, stumble over to that front door of the high school. There was a kid in my class who I've kind of known. I didn't know him well. He wasn't a friend, named Gary Block. And Gary was famous. And this is really all I knew about him. He was famous for having in 7th grade, maybe while Mr. Black was giving one of his rants, gone down to the local river and he found a corpse. And I saw him like 35 years later, and I mentioned that to him. He had completely forgotten. He forgot, that's right. He completely forgot that that had happened. I'm glad I told him he needed to bring it to his therapist. He had taken his exam right before I was about to take my exam, and he toasted the occasion by throwing an M80 firecracker into his locker and slammed the locker shut, and he blew up a hallway and half of the cafeteria. They canceled that block of exams, and 2 weeks later gave me a pass, which meant that I got to graduate high school, go to college, go to graduate school, teach at the graduate school level for a few years, find a good woman who still smiles at me once in a while, and otherwise lead a good life, but I still can't do calculus, algebra, or division, and I still can't speak French. Thank you very much.